Hey guys, Evan here, so finally bringing you all a video you've been probably waiting on for quite a while. This is the first update video, actually, yeah, the very first update video on the suit, because I've kept it kind of quiet on the YouTube channel. On my custom Amazing Spider-Man 2 hybrid suit, the name keeps being jumbled around. Anyways, this is my custom, my first custom suit that I have been working on for well over a year now. Just to give you guys a little bit of backstory just on this suit. It started finding a design. It was actually concept art for the first Amazing Spider-Man, or not the first, for the second Amazing Spider-Man. And this picture I just kind of fell in love with because it had the, you know, the look of the TASM 2, but also kept a lot of key elements that I really enjoyed from the first movie suit, and that is really what this suit is. This suit is my vision of how I think the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit should have looked. Basically, going a more classic route while keeping the key elements that I found to be really, really cool from the first movie suit, because it being still a sequel to that first suit. So yeah, we are going to hop on into showing you guys this pattern, the different parts that I have for it, just to show you guys the flat print before it gets sent out later this week. So yeah, let's go. Alright, so here we have the whole suit laid out. Now this suit is designed by Carl Moran. Hope I pronounced your last name right, dude. He is awesome. He's also a Carl9149 on VRPF on Instagram. You can find him there. He is such a cool guy. I recommend him for doing any kind of custom suit work. He's done this suit. He's done a suit that a friend of mine did, which wound up passing on, oddly enough, to another friend of mine. And yeah, he is so cool. He designed my second custom suit, which you guys will see not for a while, not for a couple months, but you know, I have that suit designed and ready. But yeah, shout out to him for this awesome, awesome design. And now we're going to go in and take a closer detailed look. Okay, so just going to show you guys the general design of what makes up this suit. That being the reds, the blues, and the web lines. Now, the red, as you can see, it has a honeycomb pattern inside of it. This is in the same style as the brick pattern on the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, but it's honeycomb instead. Very light, kind of like the same way that the brick pattern was. And this honeycomb is, to give a throwback to the original suit. The honeycomb pattern that the first movie suit has. Didn't puff paint it because I wanted to have the, be in the style of the brick pattern, but be, throwing back to the first movie suit. And then going on to the blues, the black on blue pattern of the first movie suit. One of my favorite parts of that whole suit, honestly. I didn't puff paint it just because I didn't really have the time and the patience, because these web lines, guys, those are 3 layers of puff paint. And honestly, I didn't want to do 3 layers of black on blue to this entire suit. Maybe I'll do it one day when I have the time and the suit's all sewn together, but right now, just didn't feel like doing it. And of course, the web lines are the metallic black of the TASM 2, and gave them a few little loops just to give a little more of a classic feel rather than like the grid that the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit had. And as you can see, that is the arm. Don't have the other arm out because, the arms are identical. Alright, next up we have the glove, or the palm rather. Both palms are the same, again, that's why I only have one out. And these right here are designed by Jim Pinkstaff. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. One second. Yep, that's how you pronounce his last name. Had the package over there. I actually just got these today. Really glad I got these today, so I could include them in the YouTube video. Now these are, I think they're molds. Not completely sure, but they're flexible, so... they're not like, I was almost going to go with 3D prints, but then those would have been solid and not as comfortable. So I'm really glad I was able to see that he sold these, and, they're nice and flexible, so they'll actually move with my hand instead of just being a solid thing on there. And I'll probably glue those on with like E6000 or something after the suit's all sewn up. Also have the Webshooters right here. Now I'm also thinking about making some like silver Amazing Spider-Man 1 Webshooters, but for the meantime, excuse me, these nice reverse color TASM 2 shooters. I think they'll give like a nice, cool, just little, same as the TASM 2 suit, but also a bit different. And yeah, those have magnets on the bottom. Got to make some new straps to clip those on. But yeah, these are really cool. Also by Jim. Thank you, Jim. These are incredible. And now we've got probably one of my favorite parts of this entire suit, the back spider. Now, as you can see, I have not painted these bits yet because these are the parts that overlap. Simply because, you know, once this is all sewn together, it's going to be a U-zipper, so this will be one solid piece. I'm going to paint over these and then paint over the seam line so that it has, you know, nice blending effect. That is, oh, what color red did I use? I think I used like True Red, something like that for this. That is, I think it's 3 layers of paint. Makes it feel a little raised and also gives like that awesome shine that the, you know, that the TASM 2, the TASM 1, sorry, back spider has. And yeah, this was something I really wanted to include on this suit because it's the best back spider ever, and I honestly think that they should have kept this spider on the second movie suit just because it looks so cool, and one day I want to get a tattoo of that. Yeah, moving on to the chest next. Alright, so here we obviously have the biggest part of this whole suit is the chest slash legs slash feet. Now, as you can see, the seam lines are the same style as the first Amazing Spider-Man. We got the nice black on blue pattern going along the whole thing. Web lines, of course, and here's the front spider. Now, front spider, I didn't puff paint the whole thing. What I did is, this was something I found when I was painting a friend of mine's Miles Morales suit, which you'll see one day probably once we actually finish that suit. Is I just outlined the spider in black, because the spider has a really cool shade to it. Like, you can see it's lighter up here, and then as it goes down, it gets darker. And I didn't want to paint over that, so what I did, I think those are 2 layers. I outlined it in just black puff paint. And it gives a really cool, let's see if we can get back in focus, there we go. It gives this nice raised effect of it. I think I actually got this from my buddy Cooper, aka Spider Pig C, here on YouTube. Also, Coop Scoop Daily. Check him out. But yeah, it's cool, and I'm stumbling over words right now. Yeah, it gives just a really cool raised feeling to it. Without having to puff paint over that. Next up here we have the boot, and as you can see, this boot is very different from the rest of the style of the, you know, the very TASM 2-like style of the rest of the suit. And now why is the boot like this, you may ask? Well, some of you might recognize this design, and that is because, let's go over here, I'm going to be using these beauties on him. That's right, the Amazing Spider-Man A6 Dirt Dog 3. These are currently on my old Amazing Spider-Man 1 Zentai. These will be taken off, and gonna touch up some paint on them, hopefully fix up some stuff that there is, fix up the blue, make it a better shade of blue, fix up some paint cracks and stuff, and those are going to wind up going onto my my hybrid suit. Because honestly, if these shoes were my favorite part of the entire, you know, Amazing Spider-Man suit. They made sense. They are the most beautiful shoe I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, I'm going to be really, really happy to have these on my custom suit. Alright guys, and last but definitely not least, we have my masks. Now, why 2 masks, you may ask? Well, first off, this one. This is going to be the main mask for the suit. It is an Amazing Spider-Man 2 mask, very recognizable, even, you know, by any standards. But then going on to this one is my more custom mask. Now, this one is based off of what I call the prototype suit for the Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, that was a suit that was designed, it was done, they did a lot of screen tests with it, but it, you know, it came before the final design of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, and this is based off the mask on that. Now, it's not exact, but it's close enough that it's just going to be something I want to try, see how the lenses work on it once it's all sewn up. My dream eventually would be to get an Amazing Spider-Man 1 facial and lens set, and then use this with that mask. So, you know, I kind of have an option, you know, one if I want to be more custom, then another if I'm doing, like, some sort of event or something, and, you know, I can be, you know, normal Spidey. And, of course, I will be using my Amazing Spider-Man 2 facial and lens set with it, which is, of course, beautiful. Going to be adding some nice padding and stuff to the inside to make it a little bit more comfortable. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this overview of the suit. I think a lot of you guys have been waiting on this one. So yeah, big shout out to everyone who has helped make this suit possible so far. Of course, Carl Moran, Carl9149, man, you are the best for, you know, actually designing this whole suit and making it possible. Working through with all of my, you know, my specifications and stuff, making my dream TASM, you know, Amazing Spider-Man suit come true. Big shout out, of course, to Jim Pinkstaff for the palm pads, web trigger, and the Webshooters. Let's see here, shout out to TJack for the face shell, even though I didn't actually buy it from him, I bought it from a different buddy of mine. Still big shout out to him for making that face shell. Oh, let's see what else is there. Shout out to, I think it's Dara Page. I think it's Dara and Nash Page. Housepage.com. That is the link. All links are in the description below, guys, if I'm mispronouncing stuff, whatever. They're the ones that are going to be sewing the suit. Definitely check them out because, big secret, guys, their price is actually reasonable for suits. It's not like $300 for sewing a suit. It's like $65, something like that, because they actually did the math, and they're really good at sewing suits, and you can check out their prices on the website. I'm sending it to them in a couple days. But yeah, that is everything for that suit. Gonna be sent out very soon. Remember to comment, thumbs up the video, and subscribe if you have not already, because, you know, you're gonna want to subscribe, because I think if you're seeing this video, you're gonna want to see this whole suit put together and everything, aren't you? So hit that subscribe button so you can check it out when it's here, and I don't know how long it'll take, probably a couple months. Planning to premiere this one at Kamikaze 2015, which will be, it might be the only suit I wear for that. It'll be on October 30th and November 1st. I won't be there on the 31st because I have a marching band thing that day. Same thing as last year. But anyways, guys, that's it. Remember to stay frosty, and I will see you guys next time.